Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be doing something a little different than what we've done before. Today we're going racing. So I have not had an opportunity to make content like this so far because blowing up my car on Tail of the Dragon has pretty much ruined all the plans that I had. But today I'm going to go Kart Racing with a couple of my friends. We're going to Slick Willy's in Reading, Pennsylvania. Really why I'm missing, but it's basically the same place. Granted, this is not like close course go-karting by any means. This is like family fun center electric indoor go-karts. So still pretty fun, still pretty quick, but it's not like running shifter karts or anything like that you know, I would love to be able to go race, but I can't. So yeah, the karts that this place has, they have two different styles. They have just their regular run-of-the-mill electric karts, and then they have what they call their Super Leggara karts, which the regular karts go like 45 miles an hour-ish, I believe. The Super Leggara karts will reach like 55, but you have to make a fast enough lap time with the regular karts to qualify to run Super Leggara. So the goal for today is all three of us run a quick enough time to run the Super Leggara karts and actually get to race those for once, because they don't typically run them on the weekends, which of course is when most people are free. So we're going on a weekday to try and accomplish that for once. But yeah, I'm making the journey out there now, and I'll pick you guys back up when I get there. So see you in a bit. So we arrived. This is the works. So this complex here, you can see it goes all the way down, has a couple restaurants, laser tag, a trampoline park, a ball shooting complex. Never done it before, don't really know. And then go-karts. So and an arcade. So it's like a pretty big family fun center. I'm not going to record myself walking in because I don't feel like families would appreciate that. So we're going to go get checked in, sign up for some races, and I'll get back with you guys when I'm sitting in a cart. When we walked in and started registering, we actually found out that we all had already qualified to run the faster Super Leggara karts. So there was a race coming up that was for those karts. So we ended up signing up for 2 races in the Super Leggara karts, as well as 2 races in the normal adult karts. But we raced the Super Leggara first. We had never run these karts before, and they are vastly different than just the normal run-of-the-mill adult karts. These karts had a boost button, a full electronic dash, and paddle shifters, even though they weren't enabled, like they didn't do anything, which was kind of a bummer because I feel like that would have been a whole lot of fun. Would have been a lot more to pay attention to too. We all ended up doing this first race. There was 4 of us total, so me and 2 friends, and then 1 random guy that was there just racing. So that was interesting. The other weird thing too is, like, normally in the regular karts, like, they give you like a warm-up lap at a lower speed. In these karts, they just turned them on full blast, like right from the rip. So these karts are fast. They are definitely very stiff. They don't rattle or, you know, bounce you around as much as the regular karts. They're also not nearly as abused. So it was a lot of fun running these karts. So we'll watch some of the races here. In this first race, I'm sandwiched in the middle of my friends. So Shane is in front of me, Nate is behind me, And then the very first cart is the random dude that was just there racing already. So we play a little bit of follow the leader for a while, and then we start getting a little antsy and kind of force our way past. And then from there, my main goal is chasing down Shane, trying to get by him. If you've never done go-kart racing like this before, typically the tracks are not worried about position. It's actually based on time. So even though I'm trying to catch Shane and pass him, it really doesn't matter. I'd honestly be better off just hanging back a little bit and trying to run a fast lap to get by him, but to run faster than him and be a higher position. But it's still fun to try and pass, and this track has a lot of space to be able to do that, so I give it my best shot. Put a bit of a dive bomb pass on Shane. I really was not close enough to pull off this move, but the door was kind of open, so I just took it. Now on to race number 2. So this is another Super Leggara kart race, but this time it's only Shane, Nate, and myself. So it's just the 3 of us racing. Same starting order as last time though, so Shane's in front of me, I'm in the middle, Nate's behind me. And this time it gets
a little bit more interested in trying to pass because we're all pretty even. I mean, you can see from the times from race number 1, we didn't have a big spread. So trying to gain momentum anywhere to get by anyone is pretty difficult. But like I said, I like to race and try and pass, not just go for time. Actually ends up letting me by here. He doesn't really love the cart that he got. He kind of pushed through the corners and made steering difficult, so instead of feeling like he was slowing us down, he let me by to see how fast of a lap I could run. But nothing too terribly exciting happens for the duration of this race. We were all very, very sore after this race. So like I said at the beginning, these karts are very stiff. Even the steering in them is like super tight, which is awesome because you can feel everything. But it's quite the upper body workout. So our biceps and forearms were basically like rocks by the time that we were done with this race. And we still had 2 more races to go after this, but it is a massive workout to drive these karts. Now, if you don't want to just watch me turn laps and not chase anybody down, this is the point that you're going to want to just skip ahead to the next section, because not much really happens. It's not super exciting to watch, but I left it in here in case somebody wanted to watch it. here's where our evening starts to get really interesting. So, like I said in the beginning, we signed up for 2 of just the regular adult kart races. So, there are 7 people total in this race. The max that they put on track at a time is 9. So, 3 of them are obviously us. So, Nate, Shane, and myself. And then there's 4 other people that just showed up to race and have a good time. As per usual, they give us the 1 or 2 laps of low speed warm-ups, and this turns into a cluster right off the rip. As you can see, we basically do a double file start in a giant pack because everybody's collected into this mass, and it just gets a little hairy. We kind of force our way through to get around everybody and get some clean track for a little while, but what ends up happening is we just keep hitting lapper after lapper after lapper, which is fine. It makes it interesting for us because it's fun to try and pass. So that's how this entire race goes. Racing in traffic is a whole different beast, as well as racing with people that aren't necessarily there to race, so to speak. They're there as a good time, as an amusement factor, whereas we kind of look at it as a competition. So I try to be respectful during these races. I try to leave people space. I try not to slam into people or bump them too hard or anything like that. I want them to have a good time just like I'm having a good time, and be respectful of that fact. But at the same time, that gets super difficult to do. So from this point on, I'm basically trying to catch up to Shane. So he cut through the pack really well at the beginning and got a good jump on all of us because he got clean track faster than the rest, but I'm just trying to hunt him down at this point and see if I can catch up to him. Unfortunately, I don't really get that opportunity because I end up catching lappers at inopportune times on the track and not forcing my way past them quick enough. But even with that, by the end of this race, I still set the second fastest time. But I think there was definitely some more left that I could have pushed the pace a little bit harder. bunched up with a little pack of lap traffic, so I get a really good run coming out onto the straight section to get past one of them, and I ended up basically alongside of the second person in this pack, and I had a feeling that they weren't going to slow down for the hairpin corner at the end of this straight section, so I backed off and tried to let them have room. Unfortunately, they ended up hitting somebody else, and that bunched us all back up, and I ended up behind the person that I just passed. And then going into the next hairpin corner, everybody bunches up all over again, and I end up alongside in basically 2 sets of double file carts. And at this point, I'm trying to think of how I could get around these people, and I know that the person on the inside of me is going to push the pace and overdrive this corner, so I back off a little bit and basically perfectly execute outside-inside pass on this pack. It was super awesome in the moment. I wish I had a wider view of this so you could see more of where everybody ended up instead of, just basically my view. From there, we go into the 4th race. So this race is again the same karts, the same 7 people that we just raced with. So it is the same interesting type of racing where it's a whole lot of passing and a whole lot of accident avoidance and just picking smart lines to get around people. The other thing you'll notice through these videos is the quality of kart difference from the first 2 races in the Super Leggara karts that I said were, super nice, super smooth. And then you kind of notice how the adult karts are a little bit more used and abused. The first adult kart race, so race number 3, at the very beginning of that, you can hear, I have a clunking driveline that's just, constantly going boom, 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 boom. So it's just a different experience. They don't grip as well, and you kind of have to drive how the kart allows you to drive instead of driving how you would want to drive the kart. But it's still fun. It's still just as interesting as any other race. And, I will say that driving those Super Leggara karts kind of ruined the adult karts for us a little bit, just because they were that nice and that fast that now these feel slow, unfortunately. But this location is the only place that has these style of karts local to us, so I'm sure driving other tracks in typical adult karts will still feel just as good because we don't have anything to compare them to in those locations, thankfully. So here's another instance of me trying to race moderately cleanly. So I unfortunately get stuck behind this guy for a couple laps, but like I said, when it's events like this, where it's just regular people out having a good time, I try not to make it, miserable or less fun for them. So I know eventually I'm going to pressure this person into making a mistake, and I probably wait around for too long, but I just want everybody to have a good time, so I follow them around and I don't force the issue, unfortunately. But thankfully, right here, this person actually ends up making a mistake and way overdriving this corner, so I get back around them and I have clear track to try and start turning fast laps again instead of being held up. And you get a couple good laps and then you're back stuck behind more lap traffic. the lap traffic that I get to deal with before the race ends. So the gentleman here in front of me leaves the door open completely and just lets me drive right by because he's driving basically the middle of the track and not actually the racing line. But then this person actually does a good job of defending into this corner, and because I know it's close to the end of the race, I just kind of, you know, gently put my bumper against their bumper and try and make them drive deeper into this corner. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out because I don't have the drive coming out of the corner to get completely by them, and they're on my inside, so then I let them take the inside line and actually cut back underneath them to get by. But that's the last little bit of racing that I got to do, and then pretty much the rest of this is just me driving by myself. So overall, the three of us had a really great time doing this. It was about an hour and a half worth of hanging out and just, you know, having a good time with friends. And definitely going to do it again in the future. It's probably been 4 or 5 months since we got together and raced, so definitely need to make this happen more often, and you know, hopefully in the future here we get a chance to race in a more private setting. We've been talking about doing some endurance racing where it's more competitive rather than, you know, open to the public. So we might be doing that here shortly, but like I said, we all had a good time. It was fun, and that pretty much wraps up this video. So if you've made it this far, thank you for watching, and thank you for subscribing. And if you want to see more racing content, let me know. This is the first time that I've done this. If sections of this got boring or something like that, leave a comment, that way I know. So thanks for watching, and we'll see everybody next time.